Alrighty, so before we get to a busy six-game action once again, I believe today we have match day number 3 of Group D, E, and F. That is, it's kind of crazy that as we're now into the business end of the World Cup, there's going to be 6 games that's going to happen in these next couple of days, and I'm definitely having a tough time in terms of trying to keep track of as many as possible. But alas, tonight there are going to be some meaningful game. There's also some less meaningful game. The U.S. one, of course, is one of those less meaningful game. But I made an obliged the fact that I was going to do a review of every single U.S. game, and the same goes with Canada and Mexico as well. I kind of made an obliged in the beginning that I have to review the game between host nations. That is, and that's kind of what we're gonna do in this video, where we're gonna do a full review of the two host nation or two of three host nation that played yesterday. That is Canada and Mexico. But before we get to that, talk about other action, and I'm gonna actually start off with Group C because I'm not gonna do a full review of any of the Groups C game. And Group C, obviously, the big question is who's going to finish first place. It's between Brazil and Morocco, and everybody thought that between both of those teams, the difference is going to be when they face off head to head. Well, people forget that goal difference is still a big thing. Even though I know the first tiebreaker is head to head, both of them draw in their head-to-head meetings. So it really was kind of down to goal differential, and in the end, Brazil was just a little bit better when it comes to the goal differential. And it's kind of surprising because I know they have a good manager in Carlo Ancelotti, a Champions League winner that is, and he pretty much win everywhere he goes. But I was still a little skeptical that this Brazilian side was going to do much. It's not the same Brazil as we seen of the old, but hey, he's definitely kind of make that Brazil team look like the Brazil of the old that is getting some big wins out there, getting big margin win as well. They got that big 3-0 win against Haiti, and then they just took down Scotland relatively easy in that game as well. And that's the difference because Morocco didn't win big enough. Yes, they eventually did win 4-2 against Haiti, and how about Haiti? At one point, they actually had the lead in that one after just an absolute thunderous strike by one of their player to take the lead, only for that lead to only last five minutes. And eventually Morocco did equalize, and then they pretty much took over in the second half and got those two more goals and make it 4-2. But the problem with Morocco, why they didn't win the group, is the game they had against Scotland. They only won 1-0 in that game. And Scotland was pretty good in that game as well, but for Morocco, they weren't good enough to win more, and that's kind of the difference. And as a result, Brazil, of course, topped the group. Morocco finished second. Scotland, I believe, finished third as well. There's still a lot of question whether or not if they can make it, and the thing that will kind of won't help their cases is the goal differential. They didn't score a lot of goals this World Cup. They conceded a lot against Brazil. That 3-0 loss really hurt the Scottish chance of moving on and being one of the best third place team. But as it stands, if you look at the standings itself for the best third place team, I think they're still right there, but they need a lot of help in terms of trying to keep themselves being one of the best third place team, and obviously Haiti is eliminated. But now let's talk about Group B, which of course involving Canada, Switzerland as well, which is where I'm going to do my first full review of the game as well. But the other team in that group, I think it's Bosnia and also Qatar as well. Qatar is already eliminated. Bosnia probably will move on because they got that big victory against uh, Qatar as well. And in fact, they're going to be the team that most likely the U.S. is going to face in the round 32. And I say most likely, it's pretty much confirmed. I mean, there's a 99% chance that the U.S. are going to be playing against Bosnia on July 1st at Levi Stadium. There's, I think, only one scenarios where it can happen, and it's a crazy scenario that is. So it's pretty much confirmed that the fact that the U.S. are going to be facing Bosnia in their first knockout game. But now the big question is who's going to finish top of Group B, and it's important that whoever finished top of Group B is actually more important for Canada because they get home field advantage as well if they can get a draw against Switzerland. They didn't get a draw in this one against Switzerland, so on one hand, I'll talk about in just a bit how even with this loss, there is a little bit of a slight good news, and I might kind of spoil what I'll talk about in Group A as well. But yeah, Canada just kind of lost their home field advantage. Which again, if you ask any Canadians and also ask people, looking at how Canada has performed in the World Cup at home, they haven't really looked that spectacular. at home. Yes, I know they won nothing, and that was it. That and probably Canadians are saying, "What am I talking about?" They won 6-0 against Qatar. That was against Qatar. They were down to 9 men at one point in that game. So a combination of that and Qatar being one of the worst team in the World Cup. I mean, when they do face against competent opponent, they haven't really looked that good. And in many ways, there's a chance where they would actually face a competent opponent in their round of 32 matchup. There could be a chance they might face Belgium in the round of 32, and that would be a really tough matchup, even though Belgium haven't looked impressive in this World Cup. So maybe a blessing in disguise that they didn't win this one. But again, losing home field advantage, that's definitely going to be a little bit something that some Canadians will be a little bit disappointed to see. So in the first half, Canada being very direct early on, they tried to craft a chance with some over the top ball. Didn't really quite work out because Switzerland's really started to dominate possession and look for the opener. This is starting to become like what we saw in the game against Bosnia for Canada, where it's a big moment. 50,000 fans definitely cheering for them. And by the way, because both teams wear red, it was really confusing to see. Wait, so Switzerland is wearing red, but the Canadian fans are also wearing red. So yeah, that was really kind of throw me off a little bit, and I'm pretty sure throw a lot of people off with the fact that why are those fans in the stands? Are they cheering for Canada or Switzerland because they both wear red? Anyway, again, as I was saying, the fact that it just kind of feel like the first game where for Canada, I know this is a big moment to play in front of mostly their home crowd, but it just kind of feel like the moment is maybe too big, and it kind of felt like it with this Canadian side. They didn't look settled, or at least early in this game, just like they did against Bosnia. Crepeau with denied Embolo on a 1v1, but then it fell to Menzabi, and he had a chance to put it into the empty net, but it was a heroic block there. I think it was oh god, who was it? Is it that make the ball? It was one of the defender for Canada. I think it might have been Cornelius, the one that makes block there. But anyway, huge block there to prevent a goal to keep this at 0-0. Saliba then had a shot that deflected and goes wide as the flag went up, and I think the flag kind of save Kyle Laren, who was actually originally 1v1 with the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper, of course, did get something on it, but yeah, that is one that Kyle Laren should put away as well, and he's very lucky. The flag kind of saved his blemish there. Embolo then hits one right to Crepeau. Fox Sports completely missed that moment, and even though I know this is the world feat, I'm still gonna blame it on Fox Sports because that's a very typical Fox Sports kind of thing of missing a moment while you're showing replay. That's kind of the reason why I hate Fox Sports and why with the announcement of the Gold Cup returning to Fox Sports, god damn it. Anyway, shots are 3-1 for the Swiss as the Canadians again, they're still on the back foot since minute 1. They still haven't really kind of got out to that part where like, hey, we got to calm things down. I know this is a big moment. I know we're amped up, but you need to play your game, and they just haven't really quite done so. They were trying to press the Swiss team, and they just didn't do a good job in terms of pressing him or making the decision to press this Swiss team. We then had some coming together after Xhaka looked like he kicked Laren there. Laren did try to prevent a free kick as well. He tried to delay the restart of the free kick, and Granit Xhaka was having none of it. And that is not a big surprise because if you've seen what Granit Xhaka has done throughout his career, yeah, he's a bit of a hothead. So I'm not a big surprise that of course, is the case. Both of those guys get yellow card as a result. Laren would then hits one right to Corbo as that was Canada's first shot. There was a half-hearted shout for a penalty for Switzerland not given after that. Xhaka would then puts it high on the free kick before Johnston would hits it high from long range. Corbo then denied Ahmed from close in the 42nd minute. Canada really started to get into this game. It looked like they finally settled things down as we get into the latter part of the first half, trying to get that lead late in the first half. David would then puts it high from close in the 44th minute. The shots were now 5-4 for Canada. So Canada started to not only make up in terms of them being down in the shot total early, but they were really pressing hard late in the first half to get the opener, but they don't get it. And we do head to halftime 0-0, and that was very important because in the second half, Switzerland immediately scored. Really, just 40 seconds into the second half, Ruben Vargas would give the Swiss a 1-0 lead there. Canada just completely switched off. It was like what we saw in the first half all over again, where Canada just did not look like they were settling coming out of the break, and they pay the ultimate price as a result. There was a shout for a penalty for Switzerland not given. This is like the first half, as I said. Canada just not sell in. They were on its heels. The Swiss were by far the better team, and it just kind of also feel like they're still kind of shell shock after con- con- conceding. And it doesn't help that just a couple of minutes after I wrote that, they would concede again as Manzambi would score from Mbolo to make it 2-0 in favor of the Swiss. Just woeful defending there from Canada. That was one of my big concern heading into the tournament for Canada, where yes, they have all the attacking power. The defense is going to let this down, isn't it? And it definitely let this team down. And you know what else? What was my big concern of Canada that will let them down? Goalkeeping. And throughout this tournament, I think Maxime Crepeau has actually done a pretty good job. Definitely better than what I anticipated. But yeah, this was kind of a moment he would love to have back, and one moment that unfortunately it feels like this is the Orlando City moment that he had where he should have saved one that he should. And I'm sorry, Lions fan, you knew that was coming when Crepeau didn't make that save. There, you knew I had to mention his form with Orlando City. It's been a disastrous season for Maxime Crepeau during his time with Orlando City. And for those that wonder, well, why are they still going with Maxime Crepeau in goal? Yeah, the other option is Dane Sinclair. You see what he has done with Inter Miami, you probably know why that's a bad option as well. So yeah, I just kind of had a feeling eventually there's going to be one moment where the goalkeeping is going to let down for this candidate team, and there you go. That of course is the moment, and a costly moment as well, because that turns out to be the winning goal in this one. Cornelius then looked to respond, but it was deflected wide. Canada started to show some urgency. It feels like they finally started to sell things down, and a little bit, but they still lack that final third play. It's almost like at times they were pressing it too hard. David would then had a shot that was deflected wide, but then the 76th minute, just coming off the bench and really making it his first appearance, Promise David would score. So he scored from Saliba here to make it 2-1 in favor of Switzerland. Really, virtually his first touch of the game. Beautiful little cross there from Nathan Saliba, and Promise Davis was just opportunistic to kind of stab that one in. So yeah, it's game on in this one. Canada now look like they're going to try to push, trying to get the equalizer. Cornelius will then heads it wide from the free kick. The momentum was definitely with Canada. The crowd was definitely back into it. They were definitely trying to will their side to get the equalizer. Switzerland was starting to bunker in, and this is the thing about the Swiss, where this is the same problem that they had against Qatar, where they let their opponent in the game way too much, and this is going to be a thing that they have to be better if they want to make a deep run. Yes, so far in this tournament, Switzerland has looked pretty impressive, but they also have let their opponent in the game and let them hang around, and that's something you just can't do when you get into the knockout stage, especially against much stronger team that is. And now it seems like they're kind of in a bit of a row heave mode, trying to bunker and trying to hold on to finish top of Group B. David would then heads it right to Corbo, and this is Promise David. That is, I believe Jonathan David was subbed off to this point. Johnston would then heads it right to Corbo in the fifth minute stoppage time, and despite the late pressure for the Canadians, it was too little, too late. Switzerland gets the win in this one. They top group B that is, and stay in Vancouver to face one of the third place finisher in the group that involving Belgium, Egypt, Iran, and New Zealand. The shots in this one, 13 shots for the six that Canada has 4 shots on goal compared to 7 that Switzerland has. 6 shots off target compared to 1 that Canada has. 1 shot that was blocked compared to 4 that Switzerland has. And possession-wise, 55% possession compared to 45% possession Switzerland has in this game. And remember what I said about how this loss maybe is a blessing in disguise for Canada, because just a little spoiler alert, as I'll talk about in this next game involving Group A. Canada might have gotten an easier draw and got really lucky. The fact that them have to play their knockout round in LA instead of being South Korea, which most likely is going to be a road game for Canada, knowing the fact that there's a huge South Korean population down in LA, but they get to face South Africa in the round of 32. That is something I definitely did not anticipate it, and especially talk about South Africa itself, a team that has looked like considered to be one of the worst team in this tournament, and somehow in some way just out of sheer luck they basically finished second in the group because they caused a major upset to South Korea, a team that, yeah, I mean, after that first game that they had where they look impressive, that is got to be a huge disappointment for South Korea to lose their next 2 games. And even in the game against Mexico, I mean, they were in that game for most part. If it wasn't for the goalkeeper simply dropped the ball, they would have at least got a draw out of that game. So that's going to be a huge disappointment for South Korea, now on the brink of potentially getting eliminated. And that, yeah, for South Africa, I mean, you talk about a great story, a team that, and this is why, you can't judge a team just based on one game, especially, I know they had a poor game against Mexico, but there always is a chance to redemption, especially with the way that with these expanded World Cup, you can always have a chance to potentially finish third place and be one of the best third place team. And in the game against the Czech, they didn't look that good, but they hang around, and that's kind of what you need to do when you're not playing well and you're one of the underdog. You can hang around. There's going to be some luck that goes in your way. And South Africa got that luck of getting the penalty against the Czech and then causing that major upset against South Korea, and just really out of nowhere, they're in second place and they move on into to the next round, which means who exactly finished fourth place though? If South Korea didn't finish fourth place, who actually did? It's Czechia. And we talk about disappointment in Group A. We talk about South Korea being one of the bigger disappointment. What about Czechia? I mean, this was a huge disappointment. This was supposed to be a team that I thought maybe could finish second or third place, but not fourth place. That is. And in this game against Mexico, it just felt like they were already having halfway on the plane back to Prague, because yeah, in this game against Mexico, a Mexican side that pretty much had nothing to play for, because they're automatically guaranteed to top the group. Even with that, they still were able to walk away with an easy 3-0 win. Czechia was definitely on the front foot early. They had to do that, knowing that they have to win or else they can face elimination. Visinski would then put it wide, as that was the game first shot. Selic would then puts it wide from close range. Czechia definitely had the upper edge, at least early on this one against the Mexican B team. And I say that Czechia didn't look good. They did look a little bit better, at least in the first couple of minutes. But then, as the game dragged on to be at 0-0, that's when you kind of started to see that there was not only that frustration, but it just feels like it's not going to be their night. The shots were 3-0 for Czechia up to this point. Reyes then go on his bike there, but missed wide, as that was Mexico's first shot. If that one went in for Israel Reyes, that would have been probably one of the goal of the tournament. I mean, that was a spectacular effort that just missed wide. Cover would then deny Sanchez from close before Alvarado would then fires it high from close in the 39th minute. Mexico definitely started to get into this game a little bit. And again, because they're starting a B team, it's not a big surprise they kind of got off to a slow start, because this team probably not used to playing with each other. That is, so you can excuse the fact that they had a bit of a slow start in this one. The shots were 5-4 for Czechia, but Mexico still have only the one shot on target so far. Dodoria would then puts it high from long range before Quinones puts it just high from long range in the second minute stoppage time. But we do head to halftime with the score scoreless between both of these teams. In the second half, Chiev would then hits one right to Rangel. There was a discussion that Ochoa was going to start in this one, but then I think at the last second they decided to put Rangel in this one. The good news is Ochoa would make an appearance in this one, but that of course is in the latter part of the game. He kind of got. I thought he would maybe get a curtain call in this one, not only in this game but also in his career, as this pretty much is gonna be the final time we'll see Memo Ochoa play in what has just been a legendary career that he has ever had. And I thought he was gonna start in this one, maybe get a curtain call. Instead, it was kind of the opposite. Czechia continued to get the possession, but Mexico was happy of doing that, because the Czechs were not doing much with that possession, not creating too many dangerous chances. Shev would then had a shot that was deflected and goes wide, but then the 55th minute, or the 55th minute, that is, Mexico would score the opener, as Mateo Chavez would score from Luis Romo to give Mexico a 1-0 lead, and that was criminal defending there from the Czech. I mean, they made Mateo Chavez look like Lionel Messi there, of him just kind of rip apart the entire Czech back line. And yeah, just like that, Mexico were up 1-0. They love scoring so much that they did it again just 6 minutes later, as Quinones would score from Sanchez to make it 2-0 in favor of Mexico. Quinones has been big in this tournament for Mexico, and they need him to have a big tournament, and they definitely have got it so far in the group stage. And this was another mistake from the Czech here. The goalkeeper for the Czech, Covert, he came off his lines, didn't get there. When you do that, yeah, that you're gonna get punished more times than not, and exactly that is the case. And I'm just thinking at that point, yeah, Czechia is done. They're already thinking about booking their leaving the stadium and ready to take that flight back to Prague because there is these horrendous mistake pretty much have just sent them packing. Dornia did look to response, but he puts it over from long range. Ochoa did get warm up, and this is when the Mexican fans saw that and they started to get really excited because I'm pretty sure a lot of those Mexican fans they're not just to see their favorite team play even in a meaningless game, but they're definitely there to witness a legend for the final time. Quinones would then puts it high from close range. And then the moment finally came. Ochoa finally gets up in this one, a rare substitution as well. I don't remember the last time that Memo Ochoa was substituted into a game as well, but it was a standing ovation from the 80,000 Mexican fans of what most likely is his last professional game in his career as well. And also a fun fact for you, Memo Ochoa, in terms of his legendary career, it all started at the Azteca as well. I think he started with Club America, and guess what? He's now gonna finish his career at the Azteca. Talk about a full full circle of moment that Ochoa has had. That has got to be incredible for him to have such a legendary career, starting in the place that it began, and now ending at the same place that it began as well. Dondia then puts a wide from long range. Seems like the Czechs were trying to keep Ochoa honest and realize that hey, you might get your kind of little testimony kind of finish of your career, but we're still gonna try to test you a bit. Dundia would then puts it wide off the volley, but then in the fourth minute of stoppage time, Alvaro Fidalgo would score from Alvarado to make it 3-0 in favor of Mexico, and they immediately showed that Ochoa was celebrating like crazy. And why not? I mean, this is his last game in his professional career. He's gonna enjoy every single moment. And I don't know if it's gonna go down as a clean sheet for him because I don't think you get credit of a clean sheet coming in as a goalkeeper. But honestly, I don't care. Give it to Ochoa. He deserved to get credit for that clean sheet in his final professional career game that it is. And yeah, in the end, Mexico they win 3-0 in this one. They become the first team to get maximum point in this group. I have a feeling we won't have a lot of teams that will get maximum points, though the U.S. definitely has that chance against Turkey. The shots in this one, 13 shots with 11 that Mexico has, 5 shots on goal with a 1 that the Czechs has, 8 shots off target with a 4 that Mexico has, 2 shots was blocked with a 4 that Czechia has, and possession-wise, 51% possession compared to 49% possession that Mexico has in this game. And with this win, of course, Mexico will have home field advantage until the round of 16. Their opponent potentially could be Cape Verde. Can you imagine Mexico facing against Cape Verde? I mean, I know everybody will say, yeah, Mexico is going to get the easy win, right? Don't count out Cape Verde. But what Cape Verde has done to Spain and Uruguay, and what they can potentially do to Saudi Arabia as well. This is a team that, we talk about the Cinderella of all Cinderella. Cape Verde is the darling of the World Cup when it comes to the Cinderella story, and that who knows? Maybe if I mean I know a lot of Mexicans would feel like that should be an easy matchup to make it into the round of 16, but I don't know about that. I don't think you want to face a Cinderella team like Cape Verde. That is. I mean, I get that all Cinderella story eventually is gonna stroke midnight, but I have a feeling it might not strike midnight just yet. For that Cape Verde side, they're gonna have a lot of confidence if they do face against Mexico, that is. But again, that's just theoretical. There could be another opponent that Mexico could be facing in the round 32. Either way, whoever they face, I think they're going to be favorites. And this is despite the fact that throughout this group stage train, I mean, I think this was probably the most impressive performance that Mexico has had in their first free game. That is, and of all the impressive performance, it was their B team that of course was playing in this one. So we'll see whether or not if they can do the same thing with their A team, that is, because there's a lot of pressure for Mexico. I talk about all these host nations having a lot of pressure. I mean, you could argue the U.S. have the most pressure because of the expectation, but I argue Mexico has even higher expectation, especially from the Mexican fan, knowing that yeah, you get to play at a home World Cup. The last time they played at a home World Cup, they did very well. They went all the way to the quarterfinal, and they expect that with how good this team performed in the group stage, this team should have that expectation of going deep in this tournament, or at least make it all the way to the quarterfinal again, just like they did last time when the World Cup was host in Mexico. But there you have it. That is pretty much it in terms of the review of both of these games. As always, let me know in the comments below. What do you think of both of these games. We got 6 more games that's going to happen, and then that's starting off relatively soon. Where I believe we got Group E that is coming up. We got a big matchup between Germany versus Ecuador, and that is a matchup where Ecuador is fighting for their lives. A team that I said it was a dark horse and probably the darkest horse in this tournament are on the brinks of elimination. Obviously, we got the U.S. playing later tonight against Turkey, but I also will be keeping an eye on the Paraguay versus Australia game as well because there's still everything to play for of who potentially can finish second place in that group as well and avoid that fate of have to worry about if they're one of the best third place team to make it into the knockout stage. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure to leave a like, smash the subscribe button. Again, I will do a full review of the US a little later tonight as well. I might actually even think about delaying the review of the rest of the game until tomorrow as well, and just do the review for the U.S. For first because it's gonna be very late when I come back to tonight. I'm planning to go to do a little viewing party again, watching the U.S. Play against Turkey. But either way, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.